All right, so this is the Zoom room for Snap Fundamentals, specifically the live Q&A. I'm here with the presenter, Salam Bhatti. And what is happening right now is that people have been watching the pre-recorded presentation of Salam Snap Fundamentals presentation. That has been available since the start of the 90-minute long session. Attendees are able to, on Whova, click play right at the session start time. So at 1:30, they were able to click play and watch the presentation. And then following that presentation, there's going to be the live Q&A with the speaker here. While this is going on, Salam has been answering questions live. So he is able to interact with people on our virtual event platform, Whova. And so people have been posting questions in the chat, and Salam has been going through them and answering, and will provide additional context during the live Q&A. And so with that, I'm going to pause the recording for now, and we'll resume once the live Q&A starts in about 15 minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. You will probably recognize me. My name's Ezra, and I am helping to moderate this live Q&A. This is for Snap Fundamentals. Hopefully you all were able to watch the pre-recorded video. We're just going to give people a few minutes to locate where this is, make sure that they're here. So in the meantime, feel free, if you haven't already, to put your questions in the chat on Whova, and we'll make sure that Salam can answer them for you. All right, just a few more seconds and then we'll get started. All right, y'all. Thank you all for being here and for joining the live Q&A. There might be some folks who will keep coming in. If you haven't already, please do put your questions in the chat. You will notice that now that you've entered into this room, that the Whova chat is now empty. It's because it's a brand new chat. Feel free to put anything in there that you'd like. If you haven't already, we're keeping an eye on both so that we can answer all of your questions. You will notice that you can mute and unmute yourself if you hover over Salam's face right now. You should be able to see those typical Zoom functions. I ask that if you do want to unmute and ask your question out loud, just let me know in the chat and then I can unmute and you are free to do so, just so we don't have a whole bunch of people unmuting at the same time. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Salam. And I also want to say that he has answered quite a bit of things already. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. But Salam, I don't know if you would like to kind of start with the poll results and talk a little bit about those.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for sticking it out and watching the Snap Fundamentals 2021 CLE presentation. I hope it was not too boring. We tried to make it somewhat engaging as best we could. And I hope that it is a resource for you to use as you go forward in your work. And if not, if not going through all the PowerPoint deck, then always feel free, please, to call me or to email me. We had put out a question in advance of the session about what questions people had for Snap, and we had about a baker's dozen of questions, and I got to answer quite a bit of them in the chat. There was a question I don't know the answer to, so I'm looking into it. That question was regarding kinship care and guardians who are not indigent. Like my gut, so the whole question was, are children who are in kinship care eligible for SNAP benefits if the guardians are not indigent? My gut says that if they don't, if the household is not within the income limits, then they're not eligible. But I feel like the kinship care creates a new exception. So I just need to look into that. If you are the person who asked that question and you're on this Zoom, feel free to shoot me a message or DM me here with your email address. I'd be happy to follow up with you on that question. But yeah, I think I answered the brunt of them either in the chat or in the presentation itself. If you still have outstanding questions, please feel free to raise them here.
And I noticed a few more people have joined. So for those who missed the introduction, if you have additional questions for Salam, he is here for you to answer them live. You can put them in the new chat on here if you'd like. We are also going to revisit the other chat that you saw when you were watching the recording, just to make sure we don't miss those. And I see that one person was asking about re-accessing those old answers. So the way that I have been doing it is, if you kind of go back out of this session and then click on Snap Fundamentals, the main session, how you got to that recording in the first place, you'll then be able to see the chat again if you'd like. And you can always come back in here into the sub session at any time over the next 12-ish minutes. So you can do that if you need to go back and revisit. But again, we will also take a peek at that as well.
Thanks to this CLE, I am now beating Helen Hardiman in the leaderboard. So thank you, everybody.
Great. And I see somebody put in the chat here in the Q&A, talked about the SNAP expansion in regards to homeless people using their food stamps in restaurants. When a family comes into a homeless shelter and they already have SNAP benefits, what do they have to do to change in their SNAPs, or how does that work in general?
Oh, I don't know where that question is. I didn't see it.
That's on the live Q&A one. The new chat.
Oh, right. The subsession. Okay. Yeah. So let me just look at that one again. There's a few things. Oh, here we go. Okay. Ezra, don't let me in. Otherwise, there's gonna be feedback. So there is nothing that people who are homeless or people who have a disability or people who are elderly have to do to change their SNAP benefits. They don't have to, they're already in a category that delineates them in one of those three groups. So when they do go to a restaurant that's participating in the SNAP restaurant program, they just have to, order their food, and then when they swipe the card, it'll accept it. If they're not in one of those categories, then it'll reject them. So if they wanted to just make sure that they are in one of those categories, they can give a call to their caseworker or send them a message and just ask to make sure that they are in one of those eligible categories to be so they can use their SNAP card at a participating restaurant.
And one thing I just wanted to mention, and thank you, Salam, for answering that, is that if anyone ever needs to revisit any of these chats at any point after this session is over, Whova does save these chats, so you can revisit them at any time. If you have additional questions for Salam that you don't know about until you think of them later, you can always pose those questions later, and Salam can go back in and answer those as well. So rest assured, you can always ask those questions at a later point if needed.
I hope none of you ever have to worry about the income question again due to the SNAP calculator. That was something we made because I didn't want to worry about the income questions. And hopefully that's of benefit to all of you too. If you're involved in the public benefits space in Virginia and you want to join our public benefits listserv, which is a listserv of pretty much legal aid, public benefit attorneys, paralegals, legal staff, who just pose questions to each other about wrinkles that pop up in their client work, and we help answer them as a big group. So it's a really cool group to be part of. So you can shoot me a message if you'd like to be a part of that.
And Salam, I'll just read a couple of the responses to your polls now, and if you've answered it, just let me know. So I see somebody was curious of how many people have accessed the SNAP calculator since it first launched.
Yeah, so at least 2,000, and 1,000 of that has been over the last month, thanks to a news article, thanks to one news article. So that only covered like Richmond to Virginia Beach area. So as we are getting our ads campaign out, starting, well, it's already started over the next through February, we're going to see an increase. And as a result of that increase, we are interviewing for SNAP helpline workers. So we should have some staff at the end of this week.
Another person asked, are SNAP benefits in jeopardy once COVID assistance ends?
So what we don't know when the emergency allotments are going to end. The theory is that it could be end of December, it could be end of January, but there's no sunset on it, like there was a sunset on the 15% increase. So once the COVID protections are gone, then yeah, the emergency allotment, that maximum amount, is going to go away. And so we're going to see the benefits reduced. But if you remember, one of the slides had this graphic with like a shopping cart and a red line and a green line. So the green line shows where the benefits will drop down to, and it will be higher than what it was pre-pandemic, which is good. But people are so used to having these increased benefits. So it really is it's going to be a big advocacy attempt to see what else can be done on the federal level, because this isn't really anything the state can do. The state could supplement, but the state does not have the budget to supplement all that unless we taxed Amazon or something like that. So we don't have any plans on a federal level to ask for an increase. We know how hard it is already to get like the Build Back Better agenda even through. So getting something like increasing SNAP benefits when they've already been increased, getting that through would probably be impossible. But all that to say, because it is October and January is pretty close, and that's theoretically when emergency allotments could end, we don't know. It's important to let people who who are utilizing SNAP benefits, to let them know to start thinking ahead about the emergency allotments going away, and letting them know that SNAP benefits do not expire at the end of the month. They roll over from month to month up to 12 months. So they don't have to spend it all at once. If they have something left over at the end of the month, they can save it for a rainy day. Or if they wanted to stock up their pantry in advance, then feel free to do so. But just start planning ahead and making some good choices to help ride that tide out.
Thanks, Salam. And I, of course, have to point out this fun question. For those of you who fully finished the recording, I see somebody asks, does this music mean you're the next Bond after Daniel Craig?
If you don't know what that question means, that means you're not getting the CLE credit. No, I have to work on my British accent to really get that going, but I'm not there yet. One day. If I stopped eating donuts, then I could wear a swimsuit like Daniel Craig did, but I enjoy croissants.
All right. So I don't know, Salam, if you want to look one more time over those poll questions, anything that you didn't follow up on, just so as we wrap up, since it's 2:45.
Let's see here. I don't see anything popping up in the Hoover.
All right. Well, if you've answered all of those, and I don't see any others at the moment as well. Again, if people have questions, you can directly message Salam over Hoover if you'd like. You could also email him at salam@vplc.org, or you can write on the same place that you're on right now and pose a question, and Salam can revisit it sometime this week to answer it. So plenty of ways to get, review the video if you'd like, and to get the questions you have answered. So please do that. Thank you all for attending and for watching this session. It's going to be a really jam-packed day tomorrow and the rest of the week. So please do attend as much as you can, and be sure to use Hoover and connect with other folks over the next couple hours. Thank you so much, Salam.
Thanks, guys. Bye.